Ever wondered how criminals outsmarted the law and disappeared without a trace? Discover the shocking stories of the world's most genius criminals, from daring heists to mind-blowing escapes. Don't miss out on these thrilling tales that will leave you speechless. Watch now. The Master of Deception. At the age of just 16, Frank Abagnale began his life of crime. He was a master of deception, managing to impersonate various professionals, including a pilot, doctor, and lawyer. His biggest crime was forging checks, which allowed him to steal millions of dollars from banks and institutions across the United States. Abagnale's ability to blend in and impersonate people with ease was extraordinary. He even flew over 1 million miles without ever being detected, all while posing as a commercial pilot for Pan Am. He was so convincing that nobody ever questioned his fake credentials. His charisma and confidence made him almost untouchable. For 5 years, Frank stayed one step ahead of the law, moving from city to city, using different identities and finding new ways to exploit the system. However, in 1969, after a long manhunt, he was finally caught in France and sent to prison. But here's the twist. Instead of being forgotten, Frank became an invaluable asset to the FBI, helping them catch other criminals with his deep knowledge of fraud and deception. He served only 5 years of a 12-year sentence before being released. Frank's story didn't end in the prison walls. He went on to advise the FBI on preventing fraud, and today, he is recognized as one of the world's leading experts on fraud prevention. His tale is one of unbelievable intelligence, cunning, and survival in the face of justice. The skyjacker who disappeared. On November 24, 1971, a man calling himself D.B. Cooper boarded a Northwest Orient Airlines flight in Portland, Oregon. He was dressed in a suit, carrying a briefcase, and appeared completely ordinary. No one suspected that this man was about to pull off one of the most daring heists in aviation history. Once in the air, Cooper handed the flight attendant a note stating that he had a bomb. He showed her the briefcase, and inside, she saw wires and a device that appeared to be a bomb. Cooper demanded $200,000 in cash, 4 parachutes, and a fuel truck ready to take him to Mexico. The airline quickly agreed to his demands, and the flight continued toward Seattle. As the plane landed in Seattle, the passengers were released, but Cooper kept the crew and the money. He ordered the plane to take off again, with the flight heading toward Mexico. Somewhere over the dense wilderness of the Pacific Northwest, he jumped out of the plane, parachuting into the night with the $200,000. The authorities launched a massive manhunt, scouring the area for any trace of him. But there was no sign of Cooper. Decades passed, and despite numerous investigations and theories, no one has ever found him. His true identity remains a mystery to this day, and the money he took was never fully recovered. D.B. Cooper's escape remains an enduring enigma, with one of the greatest heists in American history still unsolved. Even though the FBI closed the case in 2016, Cooper's story continues to captivate the imagination of people all over the world. The man who outsmarted the law and vanished without a trace is still an icon of criminal genius. The heist of the century. On August 8, 1963, a gang of thieves executed what became known as the Great Train Robbery. The target? A Royal Mail train traveling from Glasgow to London, carrying millions in cash and valuables. The robbers had spent months meticulously planning the heist, and their execution was flawless. The robbers used insider knowledge to stop the train at a remote spot in the countryside. They had set up a fake signal to stop the train, and when the crew stopped, they were ambushed. With precision and efficiency, the thieves overpowered the train crew, forcing them to open the carriage carrying the money. The gang then loaded £2.6 million, equivalent to £50 million today, into their waiting vehicles, making off with the enormous sum without a single shot being fired. The operation was so well planned that for a time, no one even suspected that the robbers were anything but skilled professionals. They avoided leaving any significant clues behind, and the police were left scrambling to make sense of how the crime had happened. Despite a large-scale investigation, many members of the gang escaped with their loot. Some were caught, but others managed to vanish without a trace. Over the years, some members of the gang were caught and imprisoned, but the majority of the stolen money was never recovered. To this day, the Great Train Robbery is considered one of the most daring heists in criminal history, a story of brilliant criminals who outsmarted the law and got away with a fortune. Even though the gang was eventually broken up, the legacy of their bold crime lives on in British criminal history. The Merchant of Death. In the world of arms trafficking, Victor Bout became a name feared by governments worldwide. Known as the Merchant of Death, Bout's criminal career spanned several continents as he supplied weapons to warlords, terrorists, and rogue states. His expertise in smuggling made him one of the most elusive criminals in modern history. Born in the Soviet Union in 1967, Victor initially served in the Soviet military, where he learned the logistics of transporting goods. After the collapse of the Soviet Union in 1991, he saw an opportunity in the emerging black market. Bout began using his vast network of former Soviet military officers, aircraft, and connections to move large quantities of weapons around the world. His operations were nearly impossible to trace. Using a fleet of aircraft, he transported weapons to places like Africa, Asia, and South America, often directly fueling violent conflicts. One of his most notorious clients was the infamous Liberian dictator Charles Taylor, whom he helped supply arms during the Civil War in Sierra Leone. For nearly 2 decades, Bout operated with relative impunity, evading authorities at every turn. His downfall came in 2008, when he was arrested in Thailand following a sting operation orchestrated by the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration, DEA. He was caught attempting to sell arms to Colombian rebels in a deal that would violate international law. After being extradited to the United States, Victor Bout was sentenced to 25 years in prison for conspiracy to kill U.S. citizens and supporting terrorism. Despite his capture, Victor Bout's legacy as a master of international arms dealing and a symbol of the dark underworld still remains. His story serves as a chilling reminder of the power that one man can wield when he has access to the world's deadliest weapons. The kingpin who escaped prison twice, Joaquin El Chapo Guzman, was one of the most powerful and dangerous drug lords in history. The leader of the Sinaloa cartel, Guzman controlled much of the world's illegal drug trade. His rise to power was marked by cunning, violence, and incredible escapes from authorities, making him one of the most infamous criminals of all time. Born in 1957 in the mountains of Sinaloa, Mexico, El Chapo grew up in poverty. He eventually entered the world of drug trafficking and quickly rose through the ranks due to his intelligence and ruthlessness. By the 1990s, he had gained control of the Sinaloa cartel, which became a major player in the international drug trade, smuggling cocaine, marijuana, and other drugs into the United States and beyond. What set El Chapo apart was his ability to evade capture. In 1993, he was arrested but managed to escape from a high-security prison in 2001 by hiding in a laundry cart. His escape became the stuff of legends, and it seemed that no one could catch him. However, in 2015, El Chapo once again escaped from a maximum security prison, this time through a tunnel that led from his cell to a house outside the prison walls. His ability to orchestrate such elaborate escapes made him a legend in the criminal world. After being on the run for 6 months, El Chapo was captured in January 2016. He was extradited to the United States, where he faced charges for drug trafficking, money laundering, and involvement in organized crime. In 2019, he was convicted and sentenced to life in prison plus 30 years. Despite his capture, the legend of El Chapo continues to captivate the public, as his story serves as a reminder of the power and danger of the world's most brilliant criminals. His criminal empire may have crumbled, but his legacy lives on. The criminals may be behind bars, but their secrets live on. Stay tuned for our next video. Shocking tricks criminals use to escape from prison. And hit that subscribe button now. Don't miss out on more jaw-dropping stories that'll keep you on the edge of your seat.